Reluctant Preppers provides educational awareness and commentary only. Opinions expressed do not constitute personalized financial advice. Viewers are encouraged to do their own research and seek qualified personal financial consultation before making investment decisions.
As a responsible person with growing concerns for your privacy and personal liberty, you want to know where we're headed and what you can do about it. We ask the experts what you need to do to take prudent and responsible action to safeguard your family's wealth and well-being, and what basic first steps will help you to be aware and prepared. ReluctantPreppers.com.
Welcome back, Reluctant Preppers. We have a first-time visitor today to talk about a topic we've never addressed before. Although we've had many other CEOs and executives in mining, usually it's been in the gold and silver and other precious metal sectors, but also some other strategic materials. This time we're going to be speaking with Niko Cacos, the CEO of Blue Sky Uranium Corp., and we're going to talk about what the future lies ahead for the uranium mining industry and a picture of global demand, safety issues, and also opportunities and risks to that sector, but also what makes Blue Sky unique. So, Niko, thank you for joining us this first time here on Reluctant Preppers.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on your program.
When I was discussing with our team that we're going to be talking about the uranium mining industry, some of the questions that naturally surfaced had to do with the outlook and future for the industry in general. We've been hearing a lot over the past decade, especially about the green economy and solar and thermal and other renewable energy sources, and a lot of government subsidies have been flowing in that direction. And in the same time, there's been concern about whether the future continues to remain strong for the nuclear power industry. So could you bring us up to speed on what the latest trends are in that? I guess I'll throw in one more thing. Is an article recently from Kitco talked about different jurisdictions around the world having very different outlooks for expansion or a lack thereof in the uranium demand picture, and specifically pointing, I guess, to China and India as potential large sources of demand going forward. So what do you see ahead for potential demand in the uranium industry?
Well, these are all very good subjects, and the uranium industry has been in the last almost decade in a bear market right now. Actually, since Fukushima, the typhoon disaster there, the earthquake that happened. But what's interesting to note with that disaster, touching a little bit on safety, that all the people, there was not a single person that was killed because of a nuclear fallout. It was the earthquake that caused the damage, and it was the typhoon and the tidal wave that caused the damage. But moving forward from that, we've seen the price of uranium in the last year make a nice 50% move. That's not an insignificant move. There's an outlook here over the next few years. We're seeing a lot of new nuclear reactors going up around the world. The key drivers, of course, are China and India, but you're also seeing a lot of non-traditional places where nuclear reactors are being built. There's proposals to have them built in Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, for example, a land that's full of oil, has got new nuclear reactors, and a lot of the emerging markets around the world are building them. And the reasons for that is that I think the nuclear reactors themselves are more cost effective now. They're cheaper to build. Their safety record is improved. The time frames for building these are a lot less. There's not as there's not just simply not that huge amount of billions of dollars that used to be going into construction for them. And nuclear fuel, uranium as a fuel is through nuclear reactors is a very efficient way of producing and generating secure and safe electricity, as opposed to you mentioned in your intro there, other green sort of renewables like solar.
Sure.
and wind. If it wasn't for the subsidies that go into those renewables, I don't think that they would be economic at this stage. Who knows? Maybe in the future there will be an economic source, but those do have. They're not economic today. They're not as efficient, and they do have a negative impact on the environment. You look at I've driven through, Nevada and Arizona, and you see these fields and fields windmills or solar panels, to produce a certain unit of energy, they have to occupy a huge land mass. So that has a big footprint. Whereas nuclear fuel is probably arguably the most green. It's the most carbon neutral. Has the smallest carbon footprint of all of them out there. And an interesting tidbit I came across not that long ago was that the average human being needs the amount of energy that they need to carry them through the entire lifetime, and when you measure it in nuclear fuel, is half a barrel of oil filled with uranium. That's all the energy you need for your life. So it's a neat way to visualize how efficient uranium is, and I think we're seeing that being recognized around the world, and that's where there's demand now for uranium, and we're seeing that increase.
One of the concerns that people also express is about energy independence and sovereignty of different nations not being necessarily so dependent on external sources of power in order to meet the needs of their growing populations or their transforming economies. In the case of, I guess, China and India and some of those companies that are really coming into the industrial age in a big way. What do you see in terms of countries investing potentially into additional nuclear power capabilities in order to increase their national independence of energy?
Well, we're seeing a lot of these, both China and India have their own independent supplies of uranium that occurs in their countries. We're seeing this in the United States. There's a move right now to declare all uranium production produced in the U.S. to be used first in the United States to decrease the American dependence on importing nuclear fuel from abroad. And even where we're active in Argentina in our company, a country that's got 3 nuclear reactors up and running right now and has commissioned, and they're building more. And they are very much, they import all the uranium from, I think, Kazakhstan and from Canada, but they have a strong desire to have a domestic supplier of uranium. So, and uranium is, while it's, it's abundant, it's not that abundant. It's abundant enough to be in key locations so that it can provide that security for energy supply.
Together with uranium deposits, this is something that's occurred to me as we've had other people on talking about how you'll find sometimes multiple mineral assets together in deposits. Are there any other strategic materials that are often found together with uranium?
Well, yeah, uranium occurs in different geological environments, but in the environment that we have our deposit in Argentina, it occurs together with vanadium. And vanadium is another hot metal today. We've seen the price of vanadium move from $3-4 a pound a couple of years ago. It touched $30 a pound. It's now settled around $15 to $17 a pound. So it's a metal that is very much in demand, just like lithium is. It's like a battery metal. But I think the key driver behind that is the increased use of vanadium as a steel hardener to make steel even tougher. And China has mandated an increased content of vanadium in their steel production to make a stronger, more robust steel. And because of that, I feel that the price of vanadium is up to stay in these elevated prices for the longer term.
Is there any consideration, special consideration that's necessary for worker safety as opposed to any other type of mineral mining when you're dealing with uranium ore?
Yes, there is, and we abide by the strictest international rules in terms of worker safety. It depends on I know that in cases in Saskatchewan and Athabasca, where some of the uranium as it occurs in hard rock is so high grade, they actually have to work with robots, so they don't even expose humans to that level of radiation. But fortunately, where we are operating in Argentina, the uranium is much lower grade, so it is handled. All our workers carry meters that measure the amount of exposure to ensure that no one is overexposed, and we abide, like I said, by all the safety rules that we need to.
If we could, you've mentioned a couple of times Argentina. Could you talk to us specifically about your assets there and what makes that locale unique? What makes it attractive to you from a jurisdiction in which to do that kind of development?
Well, what's interesting about Argentina in general is it's very much an undeveloped country from the point of view of mining. It only liberalized and allowed foreign investors to come into that country for the last quarter century, 25 years. From our point of view, regarding Blue Sky, what we've discovered there is not just a deposit of uranium, but an entire district, a district that stretches 145 kilometers in length, 50 kilometers wide. We own the entire land package, and we just announced our first deposit in that area and our economic analysis, and this is a region that has the potential to be one of the largest and one of the lowest cost production of uranium in the world today. So it's very exciting.
What stage of development or discovery or exploration, where are you at? Blue Sky Uranium has got this large land area, and you said you've announced one find so far, but what stage are you at, and how does that development look going forward?
Well, we are at the stage where we have a defined deposit, and we also then just recently, like I stated, announced a PEA, which is an economic analysis to demonstrate that this deposit is indeed economic in this environment. And the stage that we're at now is we're at the exploration stage where we're looking to grow this deposit from 23 million pounds. We're hoping there's a potential here to grow it up to 100 million pounds. So we're going to work towards that over the next 6 months. And then in the final quarter of this year, we're going to begin our engineering studies and work towards putting this into production.
You mentioned the policy changes in Argentina that are enabling foreign investment in mineral resource development. What other aspects of that jurisdiction make it attractive or conducive to mineral exploration and development?
Well, Argentina is a great place in which to do mining exploration, but especially so in the last couple of years, the current government there of President Macri, is a very pro-business, very right-wing government that very much supports deregulation and the development of mining, and specifically, and as well as the development of a domestic source of uranium production. So we're seeing a lot of support for the work that we're doing there. We're seeing a lot of red tape being eliminated and a lot of support at all levels of government, both the federal government, the provincial government, and the municipal governments there.
Opening up the scope a little bit wider into the whole South American area, there's certainly been widely publicized economic turmoil in other countries nearby there, Venezuela among others. But can you talk to us about the sort of the economic and geopolitical stability of the region and how that might affect operations there?
Well, Venezuela has had its problems for quite some time now, and there, other countries in the northern part of that continent are still lagging behind in development. But Argentina models itself very much closely the way Chile is doing. Chile is probably arguably the most economically developed country in South America. They have expanded. They've used mining to get to a certain point of development, and now they're beginning to diversify, into the wine industry, into other value-added industries, and they are very much ahead in the development curve. And we're seeing in our discussion, we're seeing Argentina wanting to do the same thing. They're looking at Chile as a model. They see the vast potential of developing their resources, their mineral resources, their energy resources, of which there's vast potential in Argentina, and using those royalties then to further diversify and to expand and to develop their country. So Argentina is a very safe country. We've worked there for a quarter century. It's it's not a violent country. Our workers are safe. They enjoy wine, they enjoy tango, and they enjoy their beef. And I love going there.
One more question that comes to mind is the international nature of the demand, but it's often being tied to decisions that are made at governmental levels. Or do you see that these decisions are primarily being made by utility industry executives, that sort of thing, as far as how they will invest and whether they're going to go more into the direction of nuclear power resources versus others?
Well, the government plays a key role. I can say that in Argentina, government plays a very key role in terms of, because a lot of the utilities around the world and in Argentina are government-controlled entities. So the government has a very key role. And when, I hear that the government has announced that they'd like to see 25 or 30% of the electricity generation to come from nuclear power, then the utilities march according to that tune. In the United States and in Canada, in Canada, a lot of the utilities are pseudo-government corporations too. So I think the government has a very key role in setting that policy. And then that's not the case, I think the government sets incentives to go one way or the other. So depending how they like to see it proceed, that's the way that things go forward.
Can you talk to us a little bit about what makes Blue Sky Uranium Corp unique competitively among their potential competitors in that? Because I imagine if the government has opened up to foreign investment, it's not just to your company, it's to others as well. So what gives you an advantage?
Well, there are some others, and there's some deep pockets there. I know Russia announced about a year ago they're investing $250 million in the exploration and development of uranium assets in Argentina. The Chinese have recently signed a deal with Argentina, and so has Indian corporations. But our advantage is that we have been in that country for the last 25 years, and we have excellent network of contacts. We're one of the pioneers in developing the mining industry in Argentina. We've had other successes with other projects. With respect to Blue Sky, it's also timing. As this bear market of uranium has just ended, and we're seeing the prices of both uranium and vanadium, because we have a significant content of vanadium in our project. Right. As this is rising, we have an entire new district that is loaded with vanadium and uranium. So shareholders in Blue Sky are going to be quite well rewarded in the near future as these trends continue to go forward.
When people want to find out more, either from these reports that you've published and other information about the company and its prospects, where can they find the details?
On our website, by all means, on blueskyuranium.com, or they can give us a call, 604-687-1828, ask to speak to myself or to communications, marketing, investor relations person. We're happy to take all calls and answer all questions.
Well, Niko, thank you for joining us. We've been speaking with Niko Cacos, the CEO of Blue Sky Uranium Corp, for this first time here on Reluctant Preppers. Niko, thank you.
Thank you very much.